Think about a minute. Whether you are in Tokyo, New York, or Cairo, 60 seconds is exactly 60 seconds. We build global schedules and industries around it because everyone agrees on an unchanging standard. No one wakes up and decides a minute is now 55 seconds. Money was intended to work the same way, as a stable, reliable tool to measure the value of human labor. In 1903, an American doctor visiting the island of Yap found an economy running on massive stone discs. Some weighed 4 tons. They were impossible to move, so they simply sat in the village while ownership changed hands through verbal agreement. When one family's stones sank to the bottom of the ocean during a storm, the islanders didn't stop using it. They all agreed the stones still existed and still belonged to that family, so it continued to circulate as currency. The stone was never the money, the agreement was. This reveals the core difference between money and our other measuring tools. A minute is a constant of nature, but money is a human contract, one that can be rewritten by the people who manage it. Most economics textbooks claim that humans began with barter, swapping fish for bread before inventing money to solve the double coincidence of wants. Anthropologists have never found a single culture that functioned this way. Barter only appears as a desperate fallback when an existing money system has collapsed, as seen in Russia during the 1990s or Argentina in 2002. Long before coins, people relied on simple communal debt. Neighbors helped neighbors and remembered what they owed one another. The oldest writing ever discovered, 5,000-year-old clay tablets from Mesopotamia, consists of ledgers tracking borrowed tools and promises of grain. These records of debt existed thousands of years before the first coins were struck in Turkey. On the map of human history, recorded promises came first. The physical object of value was always secondary to the debt. In 17th century London, people grew tired of the risks associated with carrying physical gold. They began storing their metal in the secure vaults of local goldsmiths, receiving paper receipts in exchange. Eventually, these receipts began trading as a more convenient form of currency. The goldsmiths noticed that because only a small fraction of customers ever came to collect their gold at the same time, they could print extra receipts and lend them out for interest. For every 100 gold pieces in the vault, a goldsmith issued 150 paper receipts. The extra 50 were backed by nothing. As these unbacked receipts circulated, the money supply expanded while goods stayed the same. Consequently, prices ticked upward. When King William III needed to fund his wars in 1694, he chartered the Bank of England, granting a group of merchants the official right to issue paper notes based on the same principle. This institutionalized the goldsmith's practice at a national level. Control of the measuring stick was handed to the very people who benefited when it was shortened. In 1944, global leaders attempted to stabilize this system by tying all currencies to the US dollar, which was fixed at a rate of $35 for 1 ounce of physical gold. However, the United States printed dollars to fund its spending far faster than it could ever accumulate gold. Foreign nations began to suspect the gold wasn't there and started demanding their physical metal back. In August 1971, President Richard Nixon severed the dollar's link to gold to prevent the vault from hitting zero. Every currency on Earth became unbacked paper overnight. Today, 97% of the money in circulation is digital, and commercial banks create the vast majority of it. When you sign a $10,000 loan, the bank doesn't move cash from someone else's savings. They simply type $10,000 into your account. In the modern system, money is brought into existence by the act of signing a debt contract. This creates a mathematical paradox. When you borrow money, you are required to pay back the principal plus interest. If you borrow $10,000 but owe $11,000, that extra $1,000 does not exist in the system. The bank created the principal but never created the interest. To find the money for that interest, someone else must take on a larger debt. The economy functions as a treadmill that requires constant exponential debt growth just to keep the existing system from seizing up. Central banks manage this by targeting a 2% yearly inflation rate. Over 35 years, this compounds to cut the value of your savings in half. The $100 bill you held in 1971 now buys only $8 worth of goods. The numbers on the paper haven't changed, but 92% of the value has vanished. This leads to the ultimate question. If the ruler is being shortened on purpose, who is being served? The answer lies with the world's largest borrowers, national governments. Governments carry debts that can never be paid back through taxes alone. By inflating the currency, they ensure they can repay their massive old debts with new, significantly weaker money decades later. Systemic inflation is a feature designed to quietly transfer wealth from those who save to those who manage the national debt.